Ever heard of a killer? I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
So I said, look at LeakYou video. What the fuck is LeakYou? Is it like a site? What's LeakYou? LeakYou. Is it a YouTube channel? Oh shit. Oh, all right, bet. Here we go.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
One, two, three, four.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope you are having a fantastic Thursday, first day of the month of February 2024. And just think, in 14 more days, it is going to be Valentine's Day. Oh, I hope you have a boo, guys. I hope you have a boo. Now, listen, I'm coming through to chop it up with you guys, to talk about a few topics, a few things, a couple of viral videos. But after this live, if you, after I end the live, I've set it up an auto redirect. We're going to redirect over to Interloper Nation, which is my channel that I talk a lot of, smack on, so to speak. But I have some things that I would like to say on Interloper Nation. It looks like some folks need a little correction. And, just so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about.
You make them be. And that's just the God honest truth. There's a lot of y'all men tend to take advantage of anybody's kindness. Y'all look at it as weakness. I ain't gonna say, well, I'm speaking about you make them be.
Yeah, you just seen that right. We have got a false prophet, okay? A false prophet who talks nothing but shit about LeakYou all the time. And I have some things that I would like to say. This dude, him and his concubine, they cannot keep my name out of their mouths. But do you see him digging all the way to China? I mean, look
You
at
make them be. And that's just the God honest truth. There's a lot of y'all men tend to take advantage of anybody's kindness. Y'all look at it as weakness. I ain't gonna say.
And it's like he just wiped it on his pants. But then we found out later on in the stream, if you listened, and I was skipping. Apparently, he wasn't even wearing pants or undergarments, and this was out of his mouth. So anyway, you all know I do serious topics over here on the LeakYou.com platform, but when it comes to Interloper Nation, we have a little fun over there. I'd also like to acknowledge the chat, but before I do that, hold on. Let me give a shout out to Room Shaker in the building. It's awesome to see you. Shout out to Jaylee Chronicles. Awesome to see you as well. I know you tripped out when you seen that. Hey, Lavina, good to see you. And I'd also like to give a shout out to a new friend of mine named Terrell. I'm not going to say his last name, but Terrell is someone that I recently met. Really cool guy. And so I want to give a special shout out to him, especially here in the beginning of the show. So I'm sure he will catch this replay. So shout out to you, Terrell. I'm glad you were able to make it to watch one of my shows. Now, let's get into a few things. And the first thing that I want to get into, okay, is a video that has went viral. All right, absolutely viral. Essentially, let me pause that for a second. If I can get there, we go. Essentially, there is a video that's gone viral from someone's Ring camera. All right, and in this video, there are orbs that during a thunderstorm, these orbs show up, and guess what these orbs are singing? The song to Sesame Street. Okay. Now it's almost as if, I envision like electricity, like a band of electricity that was maybe carrying the frequency or that RF frequency from that audio, because we all know it's radio waves, right? Television was all, stereo television, all that was over radio waves before we went digital, of course. And so I wonder if this is a situation in which maybe, like it's almost like the chronovisor, right? We've talked about the chronovisor here before. The chronovisor is a device that essentially, hey, third eye, that essentially has the ability to go back and show things that have happened in the past. And that is because when we do things, we leave an aura or an energy behind. And this device has the ability, almost like a radio dial, that you turn. Like say you want to look at the year 1500, you would turn that dial accordingly, and you essentially are able to see images and hear sound from whatever previous event that you're trying to view. And so I do get chronovisor vibes when I see this video. So I want you all to check this out and then give me your thoughts in the chat. Okay, check this out. If I can get it to play. Hold on, y'all. We'll get it here. We will get it here. There we go.
This is
Okay, now. Okay, now. What are y'all's thoughts on this? Okay. This is, for one, it's like it's stuck on, can you tell me how to get right? Right, Lavina? Right? Hey Terrell, shout out to you. I did give you a shout out earlier in the beginning, but it's good to see you. Thanks for coming through the live. So, guys, this is crazy, right? We've got these orbs that obviously are electrical based, okay? And it's like they merge, then they separate, then they merge, then they separate. But again, what if, just what if, these are some form of a light beam? This isn't the first time we've had conversations about light beams. Is it possible that this light beam, which they're known to separate, merge, is it possible that it was actually asking a question? Is there intelligence there in which it's maybe asking a question like, can you tell me how to get somewhere? Or is this a situation where we have electricity that is just carrying this radio wave frequency for some reason? This is one of the most oddest videos I have ever seen in my life. Again, this was a Ring camera. And again, these objects were together, then separating, then they merged together, then separating. And a lot of people have been analyzing this footage. Some see a little bit of everything, just like you can look in the clouds and see different things. Some have seen faces. I don't personally see faces, but it's almost like they're trying to get inside the house, right? So I just thought this was very, 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 very interesting. I have never seen anything like it ever. And I figured that you all would get an absolute kick out of that. Okay. An absolute kick out of that. Now, the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about or go through with you all is a woman named Leah Haley. Hey, famous producers. It's always a pleasure to see you. Good to see you. You look great. We're having one of our, UFO, UAP alien live streams today. So it's awesome to have you all here. We are streaming everywhere, guys. We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. I have recently added Instagram to my live regimen. So I know you all in YouTube cannot see this, and you also can't see the comments that I see on Facebook and other platforms. But I want to say shout out to those of you on Instagram: Patricia Jackson, Trees Love, Bill Pastras, Anjani, Jerome Garner, KZKEST. Let's see here. Patricia Jackson, it is so awesome to see you. I do see your message. Shout out to Dashiov00 and herselves over on Instagram. Shout out to you guys. So anyway, guys, I want you all to hear the story of Leah Haley. Oh, thank you, famous producers. I appreciate that. I have been amazingly surprised at the number of viewers I've been getting, especially when I'm covering this type of content. Because you know me, I do true crime as well. And I got to be honest with you, I'm at the point now where I need a moderator on Twitter. That's how big Twitter has grown. There's sometimes I'm amazed. I'll look up and I have 1,000 people watching me on Twitter. It's insane. And you all know the ebb and flow of things. Sometimes we'll have 10 people in here, 20 people in here, 100 people in here, 1,000 people in here. You know, we've been there. We've done that. Thank you, famous producers. You've watched me grow over the years. You all know that I've been doing this since 97. Started in written blog, written form. And then when videos came out, I knew that that was the way to go. And so I started doing videos. And then, of course, live streaming came, and it was all Google Hangouts at first. And the way, I kind of made my mark was the pajama party. That was my first viral moment. And ever since then, I've had several shout outs by several people. Shout out to DJ Academics, who really, really put me on when he shouted me out and showed my video and featured it for an hour and a half. I kid you not, I gained 2,000 subscribers in a week. Dude has got heavy clout, okay? And I did thank him, and he did respond back. Was you there that night, Livina? It was because of you guys. It was because of my subscribers, my followers, my friends. All of you. You all are the ones that said, "Hey, DJ Ack, if you want to see a breakdown of this video, then you need to go and check out LeakYou.com." And because of that word of mouth, because of you guys, you all are the ones that really helped me. And it's because of you guys that DJ Academics knows anything about me. And one day I hope to do some sort of a collab with DJ Ack and others. There's others that I want to do collabs with as well. So, but anyway, let's get to Leah Haley. Okay. Oh my God. Yes. But I don't do IG groups anymore. I do Discord now. And so I will drop the link to the Discord in the chat, discord.gg/LeakYou. Definitely come in. We do it. Y'all know that in Discord, we have complete and utter control. Nobody can tell us what to do. If I wanted to do porn in Discord every day, I could. Not that I would. But anyway, let's get to Leah Haley's story and her experience, her UFO experience. It's crazy. And then I want to talk to you a little bit about Clifford Stone. So before we do that, I'd appreciate it if you all would please
hit the like. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it if y'all hit that like button for me. It helps me in the algorithm and all that good stuff. Shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
Now, I know some of you may be able to tell that I'm not on my professional equipment because I'm not at a location. I'm not at a specific location where my professional equipment is. I had to travel light, but I think the mic here sounds pretty damn good. So let's get to Leah Haley, shall we? And let's listen to this.
Experienced what I consider some extreme forms of harassment by military government officials. At least I believe they're military and government officials. I can't prove it. For instance, I had an encounter one night. I was abducted by the chalky colored creatures, and their normal medical experiments were performed on me. But they didn't bring me all the way home that night. Instead, what they did was drop me off in a field near my home. I remember being somewhat programmed. I felt as if I were in some kind of a zombie state. And I remember thinking to myself as I was looking up into the sky, I've got to get back home. I've got to get back home. And while I was standing out in the field thinking about that, as if I were programmed, a helicopter landed in front of me. And so a bunch of men wearing green fatigues and carrying big black machine guns jumped out of the helicopter and came up to me and grabbed me and I started yelling expletives at them as soon as I realized what was going on, and struggled with them, but to no avail. And they dragged me into the helicopter, and as I approached the helicopter, I saw a man wearing Air Force Blue uniform. He seemed to be the one in charge of the situation. I remember him telling me that I was a troublemaker and they were going to have to shut me up. And this was about the point in time that I had decided I was going to undergo hypnotic regression to recover my memories. Anyway, I was taken aboard the helicopter. It seemed that we flew a short distance, and the helicopter landed near a building that had restricted on the door. And I was shoved inside, and as soon as I got inside the door, the man in the Air Force Blue uniform said to a group of men who were apparently waiting for me to arrive, "Here she is. She's a cocky little bitch." And there was a man in a khaki uniform standing at the opposite side of the room, and he looked at me coldly and said, "Well, we'll just take care of that." And they did. The next thing I remembered was someone giving me a shot in my right arm, and I remembered becoming very dizzy and feeling as if I were going to pass out. I remember being shoved into a chair, and I remember asking the man in the khaki uniform what they wanted with me, what I was doing there, what they wanted. And he told me, quoting, "It's none of your damn business, just shut up and listen." I told him I wasn't ready to listen, that I wanted an explanation for why I was there, and I didn't get one. He told me, I just remember him telling me that I had not seen a spaceship. He kept telling me over and over again, "You did not see a spaceship. Do you understand? You did not see a spaceship." And I argued with him. I said, "I know what I saw. What are you trying to cover up?" And again, he said, "It's none of your damn business." Interestingly, he didn't say we're not trying to cover up anything. He just told me it was none of my business. I don't remember much after that. I remember getting very dizzy, very weak, putting my head down. And I remember at one point being put on a stretcher, being put in the back of a truck. And I had my eyes closed, and I heard one man say to another, "How are we going to handle this?" And I heard another man reply, "I don't know, this is a tough one." When I remembered this encounter, I was very upset. I felt that my rights had been violated. I was very upset at being drugged against my will, being taken off to a base and questioned, and being brainwashed and not remembering everything that happened to me. And I felt that I had a right to know what was going on, and yet I was given no information. That's only one incident that I've had with apparent military government people. I remembered being in what I believed to be a military hospital. Again, I saw men in uniform and men in white lab coats. I recall being given shots. I remember being strapped down. I remember being given shock treatment. And again, I was told that I had caused these people trouble. I don't know what kind of trouble I've caused, so I'm exasperated about not knowing what they're talking about. They've wiped too much memory from my mind. I've also recalled these apparent military government people in this military hospital. Also recalled them using an X-ray to X-ray my body. And I remember being in some kind of a transparent container. I don't know what they were doing with me there or what was happening to me. I do know that my ear hurt when I was in this facility, my right ear, the one that I had recalled the aliens messing with earlier. And I do know that after this encounter, I no longer heard some Morse code type beeps in my right ear that I had been hearing previously. I assume that these individuals removed something from my ear that had been causing tones, but I'm not sure. I don't know for certain that's what happened. I also recall receiving shock treatment when I was in a hillside facility with a tiny little entity about the height of the knees of a man, and the man in green fatigues was standing there questioning him. I remember getting shock treatment then and being asked what happens when you're on board spacecraft. I've remembered seeing various types of entities. One type is what I call chalky colored creatures. These are the ones who performed the medical experiments on me. They are between 4 and 5 feet tall. They have big black almond-shaped eyes, no whites, no pupils. They have 4 fingers. I don't remember what their feet look like. I don't recall ever seeing any ears, no hair, 2 little holes for a nose. They move so gracefully, extremely gracefully, and they talk. They communicate telepathically through the eyes. I have also seen a creature that I call the reptilian. I remember encountering that creature only one time. It was a rape encounter. This creature was the ugliest creature I could ever imagine seeing. He had scaly skin and long claws. His head reminded me of a snake's head in its shape. He had long pointed ears. He was probably around 5.5 feet tall. Had kind of tan or brownish skin, and it looked like protrusions, sort of, in up here in the chest area, although my memory is quite vague. In that encounter, I couldn't move. I was paralyzed. I didn't have any feeling, and I don't remember too much about that encounter other than what I'm reporting now. Beginning in May 1991, I started receiving telepathic communications from some unknown source. The first time I received any communication of this sort was after one of my hypnosis sessions, where I remembered being interrogated in a conference room on base. And the telepathic communication I received that time was in the form of symbols. The symbols seemed to be religious symbols, but I was extremely confused after I saw these symbols in my head. It was, to describe it is very difficult, but the best way I can explain it is by saying if a person imagines just scrolling down a computer screen and seeing one symbol on each screen, that's what I saw, but in my head, in my mind. Nothing had ever happened to me like that before. It happened after I prayed. After my hypnosis session, I was so upset. I didn't understand what was going on as far as the alien phenomenon was concerned. I didn't understand why our military and government were trying to cover it up, and I certainly didn't understand why I was caught in the middle. It was before I remembered being involved in the crash, and so I didn't know at that point in time why I might be singled out by military and government officials. So I was extremely upset, and I was praying to God to give me answers to these questions that I had. And I was begging for God to help me understand what was going on. You know, why were these aliens interested in me? Why were the military and government officials interested in me, and what was happening? What did the phenomenon mean? And I was begging for answers. And that's when I first saw symbols scrolling through my head. I don't understand what they mean. Even to this day, I don't know what they mean, but they did give me a source of comfort, and I was able to go to sleep. So some of my telepathic communications have come in the form of symbols. There was another time that I had a dream of symbols, but again, I don't remember what the symbols meant or why they were in my head. I've also received verbal telepathic communications, although not audible. I don't hear a voice. I call the communications the silent voice because I don't really hear anything. I just have instant knowledge in my head. Some of the communications of this nature I've received involve spiritual type things. For instance, one night I was asleep and something awakened me, and I sat up in bed, and then all of a sudden got a lot of information about what the silent voice called the spiritual grid of the universe. And the message there was that we live in different eras, and the era we live in now is about to end, and a new era is about to begin. And I was told that people who are in tune with this awakening would be given the opportunity to go to a higher spiritual level if they want to. I was told that everything that we do basically is because we choose to do so. We have freedom of choice in all things. And I was told that if we choose to stay on the same spiritual level we're on now, we can do that. But the way to progress from one level to another is by heeding our positive and negative, or heeding our positive energies rather than our negative ones. So that's one communication I have received. I've also been told specific things that would help me. For instance, I've been taught by the silent voice not to give in to anger, fear, worry, and guilt, that they create mind noise. And by mind noise, what the silent voice meant was that if we dwell on these negative characteristics, and then our thoughts about our fears and worries, they fill our mind, and they prevent us from doing constructive things. So we've got to learn how to not worry or be afraid or be filled with anger or filled with guilt. I've also been told that time is not linear, that really time is non-existent, that time is like a slinky, that it can overlap, it can contract, expand, overlap, and that there can even be more than one slinky, in other words, more than one dimension, and these dimensions can overlap.
Interesting. Interesting to say the least, I'm telling you.
Approximately 12 events,
Listen
UFO
to this.
crashes, are not events that take place every day. They're rare. I know we're not alone in the universe. I know that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. It's evidence that has been denied to the American people. I stand before you today in my almighty God, and I tell you this. If Congress calls me in and says, will you testify in detail what you know? I stand here today prepared and ready to do just that. Governments must never lie to the people for no reason. Thank you.
So I think my question is actually to My question is to Clifford Stone. You said that you had seen aliens on a craft that had crashed. I wondered if you could describe what they look like.
I could, but it would probably take a whole lot of time. The reason I state that, when I got out in 1989, we had cataloged 57 different species. You have individuals that look very much like you and myself that could walk among us and you wouldn't even notice the difference, except for some of the things that they might be able to go ahead, even in a dark room, and touch an object and go ahead and identify what color that object might be. They would have a heightened sense of smell, sight, hearing. The situation is that you have various types of what we normally call grays. We didn't call them grays in the military, but you had at least 3 types of the grays. You had some that were much taller than we were. The unique thing that I'd like to point out for the most part is that the entities that we did catalog were in fact humanoid. Now this created a situation where the scientific community was trying to figure out why that would be the case, because you would expect that if life evolved on other planets, that they would take on some type of other being, so to speak, not necessarily look humanoid or be bipedal such as we are. But apparently we got quite a few of the species out there that are humanoid in appearance, and that creates a question that yet has to be answered by science.
Yes, and as I call on you, please state the news agency that you were with. Yes, ma'am.
Deanne Divis with United Press International.
All right. So, I mean, just amazing stuff all the way around. And, I like bringing this type of content to you guys. I know a lot of you, and when I started doing this, a lot of people did not believe that this was even real. All right. That the possibility that we are not the only humanoid bipedal creatures walking on planet Earth. Some feel that these entities are demons. Some feel like they come from other planets. You all, the universe is so vast. We would be crazy to think that we're the only ones. There's a wonderful YouTuber named Earth Files, Linda Moulton Howe. She has been covering this topic for like over 40 years. All right. It all started with cattle mutilations, exactly, the grays. And there's different types of grays. There are different types. And so, I would encourage you all, if you haven't had a chance, to search Earth Files on YouTube and check her out. She has a live show every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And she's a journalist. She has contacts and, contacts that are deep within the government. She's had, we're talking like spy level type stuff, the types of things that she deals with. To have a conversation with someone, she has to go to like public places where there's loud boats. There are all sorts of amazing, incredible stories that I hear from her. But shout out to Linda Moulton Howe. One day I will get to meet her. And she's a very nice lady, very friendly. And so is her moderator, Ian. So shout out to Ian as well. But all you have to do is just go look at I've been unprivating a lot of my videos. And so I will be unprivating some more, but check it out when you get a chance. I do plan on running the interview that I did with Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart was a candidate for governor, I want to say in Illinois a few years back. And if you are familiar with the Victor Alien video, okay, the Victor Alien video. And actually, I'll show you a picture. Give me a sec. If you're familiar with that, then you'll know like that was a big deal. Okay. And I had the wonderful opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with John. And it went really well. There's actually a trailer that I did. Hold on, let me see. And rumor is, guys, that Colin Powell was there during that video. Yes. Colin Powell. Yes. Let me show you this. I'd like to show you this that trailer that I did when I interviewed John. And it was a great interview, guys. So I do plan on re-airing this. But check this out. This is my older intro.
Haven't you ever heard of a killer? I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
I love that part.
So I said, look at LeakYou video. What the fuck is LeakYou? Is it like a site? What's LeakYou? LeakYou. Is it a YouTube channel? Oh shit. All right, bet. Here we go.
So yes, former pro wrestler and candidate for Illinois Governor Jon Stewart.
All right, we're looking at the interview suite at S4. It's kept dark for the comfort of the aliens. The figure who is just barely visible in the left foreground is the telepath, and behind the camera is a raked seating area for observers. Although in this case, I believe the only other person present was a military aide. The alien is seated behind a glass partition in a biocontainment area, which is maintained at biosafety level 2, the lowest designation. That's primarily for the protection of the aliens, not us. The theory is that if they were going to infect us with an alien bug, it would have happened 50 years ago. In fact, all the indications are the aliens eliminated microbial and viral life from their own ecosystem long ago. They aren't susceptible to our diseases directly, but it has been shown that microbes can reproduce and form colonies within their respiratory systems, which tends to exacerbate the debilities they seem to suffer anyway in our environment. In fact, you can see here the alien is beginning to flag. The interview was not going well. The telepath was trying to clarify some points from a previous interview, but he wasn't receiving coherent response.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
All right. Now, on top of that, and as you can see here, this is the actual interview that I did do with John. It was a great interview. I've done several, and so I will be replaying this because there's so much knowledge that came from this. And he has been hunting down every person in that video that was released in '96. He knows the doctors that were back there taking care of that being when that being started having an issue. That being had a respiratory infection, which eventually killed it. And here's the thing, here's the killer thing of all. Word on the street is that he's now passed away, but Colin Powell, Secretary of State, former Secretary of State, Colin Powell was in that room. In that particular room at S4, there's a very thick piece of glass that separates the being from the interviewer, and it is a thought interview. Essentially, that being is telepathic, and conversations happen telepathically. Well, rumor is that Colin Powell was the one in the room on the other side of that glass, sitting with the man that was giving the thought interview to this being. And this being was having a difficult time. You could see that heart monitor. John did everything from even researching what the heck that heart monitor was, how it operated. He tried to build one similar, and even to this day, no one understands the technology of that heart monitor at all. And guys, I've got stories for days. Another good one that you all should check out. I already aired this a few days back, but Walking with the Tall Whites. Charles Hall, a weatherman at Nellis Air Force Base, worked there for 2 years. We gave the tall whites, which is another species of alien being, we gave them full use of our Air Force Base down in Nellis, at Nellis Air Force Base. So there's a lot. There's so much, guys. And, I've had a lot of fun talking about these topics, and I've really enjoyed these topics. And I appreciate the fact that you all enjoy it with me.
Be careful, because I don't know where this is going. So I send a copy to my lawyer, his secretary, Melissa. She puts it in his vault so he has one. So I go home and I start vetting the names because, again, I'm trying to do my job. I just don't take an email for granted. I'm not.
That's right.
Yeah. So the first name, first name is a Colonel blah, blah, blah. Okay. I go on the internet, retired at the time of the filming. I'm like, well, this is.
Oh, believe me, he did a very thorough investigation. He's still on the case, all right, of the hunt for Victor. Now, when I say the hunt for Victor,
that's it.
Victor is the one that released the tape. Okay? Victor's the one that released the tape. And let me show you one more thing here, because as we was talking, I was showing pieces of the actual interview. Here we go. Right? This is the film. Again, this came out in 1997. And there's that stamp that he's talking about, DNI. The /27 almost makes me think like it's a 27th copy or the 27th of something DNI. But you can tell that would have been done at a separate time versus the time that was running, Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'll definitely be in touch. So, I mean, all the work that John has put into this, I absolutely loved hearing his story, the context around it. Incredible speaker, great show. Had a great time talking to him. And yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. He cracked. He literally has cracked a dang near 30-year mystery. Yes, today is the 27th. Yep. Amazing. What I am going to do though, because that's something I had not looked at, was Mr. Bernstein's analysis. I want to see that analysis of the eyes and the skin moving, because again, I know just being an engineer that is, very difficult to do, especially in 1990, whatever, right? And then early to mid 90s. To try to, you just literally put yourself in a position of, okay, I'm going to make a hoax video. If this is such a hoax, let me do it. So I'm going to try my best to try to do it. And you'll begin to realize that you can't. And even the cost of money that it would take to do this. Think about like the movie E.T., for example, right? Or even movies of today with all the CGI. But even with all of that, you can look at this. And again, one of those things I say all the time, those tactics that they'll use, you don't see that here. You don't see the bean being covered up, the contrast being turned up or the bright, all those weird things that people do with the fake alien videos. We literally have a clear shot of this being as clear as day. and it has been perplexing, and it has been a video that is just garnered, so it's just been so mysterious ever since its release. And I just think that John has done an absolutely amazing job. So I personally thank him, honestly. And I really look forward, to what's to come and disclosure just in general. I told you guys, we've been having a lot going on. I mean, even I received a couple of very strange leaked videos and over, I mean, 3 in 1 week. And I mean, we've talked about that, but one was a tall white. I was told the being was repairing its craft. I look at that video and it's saying the indicators, right? There's no indication that we shouldn't have such a clear shot, right? But that insectoid creature as well. So guys, I just want to say thanks for coming through. And again, if you have any media, including pictures or video of any sort of UFO, aliens, UAP, or anything paranormal, feel free to send it over to me, tips@LeakYou.com. You can also upload it to our Discord, and you can even send me a message in the Discord anonymously. Please know that I keep all sources anonymous. I tell no one. They could put me in jail tomorrow, and I would not reveal my source. So all anonymous sources are welcome. Frankly, I don't even want to know who you are. Now, if you have had an experience and it's something that you want to get out and you want to talk about with someone that is understanding, who's not looking at you like you're crazy, reach out to me. I will absolutely interview you. And we can do it live or we can record it and I can edit and then drop it. Of course, with your approval after you review it first. So I want to put that out there, but I can help you communicate completely anonymously. I do have an IT background, so all emails sent to tips@LeakYou.com are encrypted. So just know that if you've been abducted, if you've had an experience of any kind, please feel free to come tell me your story. Absolutely no judgment here. And what you're seeing here on the screen, especially in the middle there. Now, the one on the left, we suspect could be fake, potentially, but I was very open about that. But it also could be something that was real and had like some filters put on it. Now, the one in the middle, the photo in the middle has been rumored to be a Trantaloid. Now, back in 81, I believe it was, Ronald Reagan was briefed on 5 different types of alien beings or species of aliens. Again, whether they come from this planet, whether they don't, is all up for debate. I believe it's a little bit of both. But Trantaloids are very dangerous. They look at us like food, and they are very hostile to humans. Reptilians are very hostile towards humans. Matter of fact, they absolutely hate us. Okay. So, again, there's so much. And we will continue to cover these topics. I will continue to cover these topics. And again, guys, don't forget that I am on Amazon. I'm also on Apple. I'm also on Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. So you can catch me on anchor.fm/LeakYou. And you can even listen to the blog post there. I am monetized on these platforms. I haven't really pushed the subscription cost or anything like that, but it's getting to the point where I will be. So anyway, guys, one last thing before I let you go, please subscribe to my TikTok. My TikTok handle is @LeakYouOfficial. You may see two. The other one is LeakYou.com, but I'm very active on LeakYou Official. I've been also taking my videos and uploading them so that you all on TikTok can watch them as well. So please subscribe. I'd love to be able to go live on TikTok, but I need to get to 1K to do that. And so I have faith that you guys can help me out with that. Hey, BB Nice, how are you? How are you? Thanks for coming through. So anyway, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. Before I get up out of here, allow me to pay a few bills if you don't mind. Shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
Looks like you lost another one.
All right, guys, thanks for coming through. I will catch you on the next one. Until next time, guys.
The judgment sentence that you are an asshole. The trial is over. Thank you, everybody.
Let's play a game. You have 10 seconds to take all your stuff and get out of my life. 10, 9, 8.
God bless you, motherfucker.
You're really smart. Like really, really, really smart like I am.